Circle and Square. Written and illustrated by Henry Williams. Narrated by Michael Emily. Circle and Square, an inseparable pair, given life by Maldium, the deity, and made in its image, practically born into privilege. They served and in return for the blessing, but soon both found something was missing. This is the story of Circle and Square. They spent their days dancing in the clouds and building flower crowns, carefree and full of love for each other and Maldium up above. They did what they could, knowing how difficult its job was, dropping whatever they were doing when called by its graces. And of course, it was all done whilst ignoring the elephant in the room. For you see, these entangled two were once a three. Though, if ever prompted to talk about their missing part, they would say there was no absentee. Undoubtedly, they had once been circle, square, and triangle, who was all made up of angles. Triangle was Maldium's least favorite, the strongest, the loudest, and the most independent, known for her easy agitation. Because Maldium's favorite was Circle, who was quiet and obedient and did as she's told, the shining example of creation. Despite being contrary, Circle loved Triangle anyway, and Triangle loved Circle, and they both loved Square, who was the smartest. And together, they enjoyed life and all the splendors Maldium would bestow. Though one day, Triangle wouldn't build flower crowns or dance, only stare at her reflection, locked in a sorrowful trance. In a burst, she proclaimed hatred for her three-pointed head, longing for the parallels of a rectangle, and she couldn't just leave her desires unsaid. Though, when Maldium heard her pleas, the trio, quietly, became a duo. And so, Circle and Square, now a lonely pair, laid in the sun and danced in the moon, knowing better than to bring up the three they once were. Maldium would cry, expressing its care, but only one could tell the falsity, only Square. For he was the smartest and wisest of all, and despite Maldium's shower of love, he knew trusting it would be their downfall. Square would ask the nature of love, but Circle would be quick to shut him down, because it would always listen from above, and there are some things better left unsaid. Because sometimes Square was too smart for his own good. And so they pranced, and they sang, and they ate. But one day, Square appeared deadbeat. He didn't frolic, nor sing, nor eat. And when Maldium asked a favor, he dragged his feet. Circle approached that night to take his hand in their nightly moonlit dance, intent to take him out of his solemn trance. But he did not move. He simply sat, and he thought, and then he said no. Circle was stunned. Square had rejected a dance. Something must be very, very wrong. Through all their time, he had never declined a prance. She prayed his mood was not lifelong, but her train of thought was quickly cut short, with an utterance of a wish she could not support. Square, too, wished to be a different shape. She covered her ears and moved away, appalled by what he had to say. He was smart, intelligent, the smartest of the three, and he, of all people, was meant to know better than she. She screamed over him, aware of his coming fate, She didn't let him get another word, but she was too late. His pleas had been heard. Maldium descended upon the two. They had never truly known what Triangle went through. All they knew was she had upturned their perfect world and disappeared for her lack of obeisance. But now they'd learned the detail. For time she should hear over the house she should be this. Can is it snows at it, can is it and spike ice. That's it. And so, piece by piece, she watched as he returned from whence he came, and the entwined duo became a solo. So she sang in the moon and danced in the sun, forever faithful to the fear of Maldium up above. Her dance now a lonely duet, which wasn't much fun, though, in her own mind, the only place she was alone. Her siblings' words replayed, stuck in her head like a song with a memorable tone, because by talking about themselves, it felt like they'd spoken of her. It was an unseemly thought, one she cast in shame, to even think about wanting a different shape went against everything she was taught. But she could not shake it. The thought of having sides, like ice to freezing, like time to a clock, it could not be separated from her very being. She served, and she served, all the while itching to rip her round flesh from her bones, though she did not say a word, for she knew by who she was owned. She echoed its sentiments of love, though the words were a husk of the genuine care she had felt hereof. The loss of her comrades had lent to a loss of herself, as after all, they shared the same blood. They were one and the same, though of a scrambled shape. When she rose each day, she was faced with a choice of living a lie or becoming a feast. And every day she made the choice that would let her lay in bed once more that night. For tomorrow is another day, and thus is the story of Circle.